Hello, everybody. Aleah J here on behalf of WrestleZone, and today I'm joined by the charismatic free agent, Aleah James. How are you today?
Hello, I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm fantastic to be speaking with you today. You are starting a new chapter of your wrestling career, so I'm super excited to talk about that today. Like we said, you recently shared an update in your wrestling career. You are now officially a free agent. Obviously, we'll talk about this next chapter of your career coming up, which, if I'm correct, which will be starting on the 22nd. I don't know. I think you're back in the ring then. Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's coming right up. If you don't mind, though, I'd first kind of like to take a little bit of a step back and kind of talk about some of the events that led up to this, if that's cool with you.
hmm Of course.
So, for those who may not know, you were signed to WWE during the lockdown, where you subsequently joined NXT UK. You made your debut there in November 2020. So, first of all, I mean, obviously, that's a huge opportunity, especially so early in your career. You made your debut in 2019. You were training for about a year and a half before that. But basically, a year and a half after your debut, you signed a major debut in NXT UK. How did that opportunity come together for you?
Well, I don't actually know. So obviously lockdown happened, and in the UK there was zero wrestling. You couldn't train, you couldn't do anything. So for me, I was kind of just waiting for the indie scene to pick back up again, and I wasn't sure what was going on with anything. And then I was just like in my room, and then I just get an email about it. So I was like, okay, they know they must know about me. So that was just a cool thing maybe for me to realize, because I knew I had like potential, because everyone like who wrestles has to know that, otherwise there's no point in doing it.
Yeah.
But I didn't realize that I was in any kind of scope or sphere or anything like that. So it was just cool to be like, oh, okay, people know who I am already at this early stage. So that was cool.
Yeah, I've been following the Brit indie scene since, ironically, the same year you debuted, 2019, and your name was definitely one even before NXT came that was on the radar. Obviously, the pandemic hindered just overall the world, but your name I would see constantly coming up. So obviously, they saw something in you. You're young, you're talented, you have a great look, you have potential, and you believe in yourself. So that, I think, is huge. And overall, I mean, talking about dreams, you also had the opportunity to wrestle somebody who you considered to be a dream opponent, that being Ginny, which I believe was actually in your debut match for NXT UK. So tell us about your experience not only working with Ginny, but also sharing a locker room with her.
Well, she'd been wrestling for a while before that, and I'd seen her on the independents. So for me, it was weird just to see people and wrestle people that like I had watched and never thought that I would kind of get in the ring with yet. So yeah, she was always fun to be around and helpful to all the girls. So that was always just going to be a learning experience for me anyway. So that was good.
Yeah, and I know overall your biggest dream opponent is coincidentally someone who shares the same last name as you, that being Mickie James, who I love. You said that Mickie is the first person who inspired you to wrestle. So talk a little bit about her influence on you and how she inspired you.
Well, when I started watching wrestling, I feel like the women's matches were either non-existent or they were like 2 minutes long, 3 minutes long, and you could just tell with Mickie that she was trying to make a statement in those 3 minutes. She was making like the whole match would make sense. She would hit moves and she would have character, and that to me stood out so much, because I feel like a lot of it, and like no disrespect to any of the other women, but a lot of it was kind of like geared towards men watching, and not so much like young girls who were trying to be wrestlers and achieve
Yeah.
the same dream as them. And I mean, every single thing that any of them women did, I highly respect. But I feel like Mickie was, for me, like I could see doing that. Like she made it something that could seem achievable.
Now I'm curious, was the James part intentional into your ring game, kind of as an homage to Mickie?
Yep. And I never, so when I picked that, I never thought I would be doing anything anytime soon. So I was like, oh, I have time to change it if it's too
Yeah.
on the nose. Like, but then everything just went, and I was like, okay, I guess I'm a James.
Yeah, I mean, she just was over in the UK for Rev Pro. She was I know she was at the UK last year, so she's been making her rounds around there. Obviously, she's been making her rounds in the States. So I mean, we need a battle of the Jameses sometimes. I'm just saying, I feel like somebody should book that.
Oh, that would be, I'd retire. That's me done. Life goal achieved.
I don't blame you there. And obviously, Mickie is definitely a big in-ring veteran, and you were obviously surrounded by a lot of those in-ring veterans like Ginny back over in NXT UK as well. So I'm curious, when you kind of joined, it was the middle of the pandemic. Was there anybody who kind of served as a mentor to you or really helped guide you on your way into NXT UK?
Yes. Even though she's a notorious bad guy, Nina Samuels
Yeah.
is the queen. Like she is the most helpful lady I've ever met. And without her, like she helps everyone that goes in. So she's amazing.
I'm curious, in what ways did she kind of help you through the transition? Because she'd basically been there since the beginning of it. So she kind of
Mhm.
knew the groundwork and knew probably everything that goes into it. Can you tell us more about how she kind of helped guide you through that?
So if I ever had any questions or if I was ever nervous about anything or worried about anything, she would be the first person that I could go to and feel like I trusted their judgment and always had the best advice and the truthful advice. So it's always good to have that anchor. So if you ever feel like you need any help and you're away from home and you just need someone who gets it and who has experience, and she's one of those people that you could ask anyone and they would say the exact same thing.
Yeah, I've only heard good things about her. I haven't personally met her myself, but from what I've heard, I've only heard good things about her, despite her like demeanor as a character. I've definitely heard that she's one of the kindest and most helpful around there. And kind of just overall, it seems to be an overall prior to the disbanding seems to be a pretty positive experience for you. What are some memories that stick out to you, or just general takeaways from your brief time in NXT UK?
Stick out to me. Um, Meeting my partner, obviously I met him there. Making a lot of friends with people that I maybe not have crossed paths with if I wasn't there. Um, just the deep end nature of it. I feel like that I'll always remember how nervous I felt, and then it was always going to be okay. So whenever I'm in a situation with wrestling, I always think to myself, well, it's not going to be as scary as that was until it is.
Yeah, I mean, at what you 22, at the time of really getting your foot in there, still pretty really still fresh into your career, but you went head on. Obviously, we'll talk about Noam Dar in a little bit and all of that fun situation. But in the summer of 2022, obviously there was a lot of a shift in the NXT UK brand. They announced that they were disbanding in an effort to launch NXT Europe in the near future. A lot of the superstars unfortunately got released after this news emerged. You stayed on board. What was initially, anyway, what was your initial reaction to kind of receiving word of this situation? What did that phone call or email entail? I don't know how exactly they relate it to you, but if you recall, what was your initial reaction?
um, Mainly upset for everyone, and like just the way that all of a sudden it was something and then it was something else. Like there was no kind of like slow transition. It was there and then it was gone. So like it was just kind of like getting used to that new reality of like, okay, that's not where I'm going to be going in a couple of weeks time and wrestling, and we're not all going to be meet like that's a good time to meet up with everyone, even though it was you're wrestling and you're doing your job. Like you're still seeing this group of people that become like your people for like 3 weeks at a time. So it was also just realizing that that was coming to an end, and just yeah, it was a shock definitely for everyone.
So that was in about August. Your last match was March of 2022. So that's like a 5 month span. Again, I don't know. I don't know when they held. I think they held tapings up until June or July, still even just airing them later. But that's a 5 month gap. I'm curious. After you wrestled in March, was there a direction for your character or any plans, or was it just kind of a wait and see kind of situation?
Well, actually, I was due to wrestle in April, but I fractured my shoulder. So that's why I
That's
was just
correct.
cleared just before the whole brand shut down. So that whole month, the whole like months that I was off was from an injury.
Oh my gosh. How did you sustain your injury? Was it in your last match or was it training?
It was training.
Training. Okay. Yeah. Still, yeah, no, still to have hope to, come back and all of that and then to have it,
Yeah, I was ready to go. I was like,
I
yeah,
know.
fresh.
Yeah, at least in that situation, you weren't the only one. A lot of us were still reeling in shock, but I'm curious, it took a while, the news came about in August of 2022. Were a free agent in July of 2023. So there's a lot of window of time for stuff kind of happening. So can you kind of give us a little bit of insight into your whereabouts during that time from when NXT UK disbanded and then you announced that you were a free agent? I assume a lot had to have happened in that because I know they brought over some NXT UK stars to America, including Noam, Stevie Turner, a lot of that. I was expecting you to show up there as well, but can you kind of walk us through these last few months and kind of what happened there?
So obviously a lot of plans change and ideas change and whatnot. So I was still under contract until I announced that I was a free agent. I'm assuming under the guise of NXT Europe, which hasn't happened. So I just think it's within everyone's best interest to just let people do what they want to do and wrestle. And I already hadn't wrestled since March, as you said. So for me, I just want to get back to doing what I love. Like having this time off, it's been great, and I've been able to train and been able to work on my character and my fitness and everything. I'm always going to be grateful for this time. But I'm just ready to wrestle, and I'm not waiting for anyone. I'm not waiting for anything.
Yeah, and you've done a lot of training. I've seen you've been doing gymnastics, CrossFit. We'll talk about kind of your preparation for that. At least during this time though, there's been a lot of uncertainty, but you have always had that support with Noam there for you. So I'm curious, you all have someone, a 15-year veteran, right, right with you. What are some things that you've learned from Noam that has kind of maybe helped you even during this transition and training?
Well, it's weird because even though obviously in terms of wrestling, he could give me all the advice under the sun, like he also is really good at just giving me life advice. Like there's been multiple times in this time frame where I've felt like hopeless. I felt like there's no point or anything like that. And he just keeps like me reminded that everything happens for a reason. And this time off was meant to happen. And so many things that I've achieved in terms of like me personally that I would never have done if I was wrestling every single week or maybe even injured or maybe like anything could have happened. So for me, this time off is what it had to be. And I don't feel like I would have changed anything about it. Like even though there's been times where I've been like sad or times where I've been stressed or angry or felt like quitting, like I feel like all of those things and feelings needed to happen for me. So I had like he just reminds me of all of those things and keeps my head straight whenever it's going like
Yeah. What's some of the life advice that he's given to you? Wrestling is one thing, but life advice too, I feel like is definitely a lot helpful too as well.
just reminds me that there's more to life than wrestling and that like when that's done, like you need to have other parts of your life that you cherish and that you work on and that you nourish and like friendships and relationships. Like he has done so many different steps in his career and he knows what it's like when you put too many eggs in the wrestling basket or too many in the life basket, like finding that balance of keeping yourself sane but also being 100% involved in the job and 100% ready for whatever it throws at you. So it's just to have someone who has been through it all and is still like respectful and still kind and still looks after his health and is still happy, like that to me is the dream. Like to still have all of those boxes ticked as well as being amazing. Like I don't think that's you think it's just like a given, but it's not.
Yeah.
So it's just cool to see someone actually do that and live their dream and also just be a nice person whilst doing it.
And you've been super supportive of him as well. I see you all over your social medias, supporting him and his run as, I guess, kind of unofficial, now NXT UK Heritage Cup champion. He's had a great entertaining run, and now has a faction behind him. So what are your thoughts, kind of since he's made the jump back to the States and kind of on NXT television?
What do I think about it?
Yeah, and his run and everything that he's doing right now.
Well, I just think it's great. Like I feel like you don't have to be a comedy kind of like able to act and able to perform without the wrestling part. Like I feel like it doesn't have to be one or the other. He always delivers when he's wrestling. He's always, you know, trying to make his matches and his experiences with other people memorable and just fun to watch. And but also being funny and also just living, like he's literally just being who he wants to be and not letting anyone decide for him. Like I want to be, this is my character, this is how I want to be, and that's how I'm going to deliver it. And to be able to pull it off as well, like I just find it inspiring. It's really cool.
Yeah, and you've been like waiting basically, a year and a half to make this comeback, and you will soon be doing that. We'll talk about that in a moment. Like we mentioned, Noam has made the jump. I know, like I said, a lot of the NXT UK stars made the jump over. You said that plans changed, and that's just life. I'm curious, do you know if you were ever even briefly considered to join the brand here over in the States?
Yes, that was originally the plan. Then it was Europe. Then it was whatever is happening with, with
Yeah,
that.
I
But now
know. Yeah, I know the NXT Europe stuff. They were hoping, I think, like spring or summer of this year, and then it just kept getting pushed back. That makes sense for you. So I assume then that your contract ended. They're still kind of getting this off the ground and running. So I assume the door is still open for you for NXT UK, NXT Europe when and if that gets done.
Yeah, I'm assuming so. Like unless I do something completely crazy in this time frame. But I honestly, I don't, as much as like that would also be amazing, and I'm never gonna say no to anything unless the
Yeah.
situation asks for it. But I'm just happy and excited to do my own thing for now and to just figure out who I am in the ring and what I bring to the scene, because I when I was doing the independence, that was really fun for me. And just before I was signed, I was really finding my stride and really like nerves were just starting to settle before, and I wasn't like wanting to be sick and stuff. So it'd be cool to just finally, like, with all the knowledge that I've got from working with WWE and working with the people that I've wrestled, like to bring that now to this next run, like it will be fun because I know what it felt like before. So I wonder if it will feel the same or different. Like it's just exciting. It's an exciting thought of what's going to happen next.
Yeah, you are a free agent. You will soon be returning to action. From what it looks like, your first match back, I think, is at Z-Force Wrestling on September 22nd. You are open for bookings again. So what else is on the horizon for you right now?
So there's a few unannounced, so I won't steal their thunder.
Okay.
But I'm also wrestling in Israel in October, so that'll be fun. Because obviously Noam is from Israel,
Yes.
so that's just a cute little tie in there. But I'm excited for that too. So just excited to get in the ring and just do it. It just
I,
feels like it's been so long.
it has. I mean, you think March of 2022, it's now September of 2023. It's been a year and a half.
And
So
when you're still fit as a fiddle and you're like just like what is there stopping me? Oh wait. Like you feel physically able. So that is also just like I'm just ready. Been ready.
yeah, like you said, you've kept yourself in great shape. CrossFit, you've done some gymnastics, regular trips to the gym. So it seems you are definitely physically prepared to that. But how else are you kind of preparing mentally, and how has your body responded to kind of this training again? Because I feel like, keeping yourself in shape is one thing, but like in ring shape, I have to imagine is a little bit different.
Yeah, so where I've been over here, I have been training at Devon's Academy. So I have been able to have matches and work on my ring cardio. But I feel like it'll actually maybe be easier in the UK when it's not like it's really hot Like over here it's boiling hot, so that adds a different dynamic to the training and to cardio. So I'm kind of excited for like the cold weather.
Me too. So for me right now, it's for me. I live in upstate New York, so for me right now, 85 is scorching. I think where you are, it's probably in the 90s, maybe 100. I don't know, but yeah, I'm ready for fall. I'm ready for fall too, girl. I'm so ready.
Yeah, I'm ready for UK fall. That's like even colder.
Now I'm curious because I mean we're actually you are a fall. I'm a fall baby too. My birthday is next month as well. What does the UK fall look like?
Quite grey. I feel like the tinge of the clouds makes you feel a little bit. You wake up and you don't want to get out of bed, but you do. And then also outside, it's quite pretty because of the like leaves and stuff are browning. Yeah. Like I do kind of like it. I just feel like it just slowly gets you ready for winter, gets you ready for not like being able to leave the house without 5 jumpers and your long coat. Like I have a coat that goes all the way to my ankles. I need that because I get so cold.
I love my long coat. I maybe that's because we are fall October babies, but like I just can't do the heat, you know. So at least you have that to look forward to. You know, your return matches are going to be under cooler weather, which is always a plus.
Definitely.
You know, you mentioned kind of reviving your character, getting yourself back in the ring. What can fans expect from this free agent Aleah James, both character wise and in ring wise?
Confidence. I want to have fun. I want to have fun matches. I want to display athleticism. I want to display charisma. I want people to be entertained, and I hope that I'm bringing something to the scene that isn't there right now. Like because I felt like I did that the first time, so why can't I do it the second time? I feel like I've had enough. It's enough of a gap. You've missed me enough. I'll be back.
Yeah, and kind of in your own words, we'll talk about goals in a second, but you know, the Aleah James before, you know, was kind of fun, pretty much not clean cut, but you were like fun loving, charismatic baby face, you know. What are you, without giving away too much, how are you kind of revamping your character in the ring? How would you describe her right now?
Well, I feel older. Like even though not in a bad way, but like I feel more mature. I feel like
Yeah.
the things that used to bother me or worry me don't worry me anymore. And I also like I don't have time to feel scared about things. There is no time to do that, to be tentative or to worry about what other people think about you. And I feel like this gap that I've had has like forced me to learn that. Doesn't You can't worry about what people are thinking. Everyone could be thinking X, Y, and Z about me right now, or why I haven't been around, or why I have been doing this, and you can sit there and worry about that, but who cares? You just have to go and do what you've got to do. Like you live your life for you, so I have to do that and just have fun with it. And having fun ticks all of those boxes. It ticks the box of not being worried about what people think or being nervous or being anxious. Like as long as you have fun with it and don't treat it like it's a life or death situation, then it's going to be fine.
Now I have to point out that I feel like style wise, you kind of got like a sporty, athletic kind of gear. I've always been a fan of your ring gear too. So
Thank you.
I am very curious, you know, whether it's in this current thing, where do you look to for inspiration when it comes to kind of envisioning your ring gear? Because you know, this is a return. I assume you have probably some new gear ready to bust out. So where do you look to when you're envisioning your ring gear aesthetics?
I feel like the diva gear, but I kind of like it to be more like I like to feel comfortable. So if I'm wrestling and I'm in something that's too low cut or something that's too high rise, like I will feel uncomfortable. So the first and foremost is just about feeling confident and not feeling like you're worrying about any kind of malfunction. Mixed with my top half is obviously inspired by Mickie James with the crossover and the bra underneath. So yeah, just that really. And like I just like fun colors and colors that stand out. So
do you have a certain color palette that fans can look forward to in kind of these return gears?
Well, I have the classic white and pink that I had.
Yes.
And I have got like a darker color as well for that alter ego look.
Okay. Okay. I want to see more of, the heelish Aleah James. I'm definitely looking forward to that. And especially now as a free agent, back on the indies, you kind of have more creative freedom to kind of experiment with stuff and maybe showcase a new side of yourself. So we're looking forward to that. And once you do return, it's right around the corner. What do your short-term plans and hopes look like for yourself?
Short term, just experiences. My short term is experiences. I try not to give myself like a physical thing to achieve,
Yeah.
because I so sometimes I'm my worst enemy, to the point where, like, if I say I'm going to do something and I don't achieve that, then I feel like, oh, you're a failure or whatever, like just normal people things. So I try to make it like a feeling, or like I want to achieve confidence in my ability. I want to achieve finishing my match and not beating myself up and thinking, oh, that was really fun, that was great, what did I learn from that? Like, that's what I'm looking to try and achieve short term as well as long term.
Yeah, so I mean, long term, that kind of transitions into that. Obviously having fun is a big goal for you. And maybe, like you said, you don't necessarily have a certain thing, I want to do this, I want to do that. You seem pretty open-ended and just going with the flow. You said before too, you're kind of like just going with the flow and seeing what happens and having fun. Do you kind of have hopes to sign somewhere again, or where do you envision yourself in kind of a year or two, you just kind of taking things as they go?
Yeah, like obviously it would be cool to sign somewhere or to just be based somewhere, but I think that because I wasn't expecting to be signed the first time round, that worked. Like, that mentality worked for me. Just wrestling as many times as I can and trying to get better then led to that opportunity. So I'm gonna apply the same logic and apply the same structure, and then hopefully that whatever's best for me will happen. So that's just kind of the way I see it.
Yeah, I feel like that is, you don't have a lot of people have high expectations for themselves, which can let them down sometimes, but you seem pretty free-spirited and kind of just open to whatever, and having fun is definitely important in this next phase. You've been off, not off, but away from action for like a year and a half, so you're yearning to get there. And last question, upon your return, whether it's in the UK, the States, Japan, who are some opponents that you've got your eyes on facing?
Well, definitely Nina Samuels, because I feel like we have great chemistry together.
Yes.
I just love wrestling her. I just feel like we bring the best out of each other. And Danny Luna, I think she's pretty cool. She's strong. I love wrestling strong people. I feel like you just feel that the intensity and the power in what they do, and I find that just really intriguing. Um, Marina Shafir, I feel like she's an amazing wrestler. I would love to wrestle her. I feel like I love wrestling like people, or watching the work of people that have a real trait towards it. Like, they have something from outside of wrestling that they've brought to it and have made it their own. And I always think that that's something that everyone needs to experience. Everyone needs to experience wrestling someone who could really break your arm. They could really tap you out. Like, everyone needs to feel that.
Yeah, Marina has that MMA background. I know you've done CrossFit. Have you dabbled into the MMA scene at all?
So I have actually done some Muay Thai, because my Noam does that, and he's done that for
Uh-uh.
years. So I have I have dabbled in that. I like to cherry pick the things that I think will help me. Um and yeah, CrossFit, and just training with a wide range of people. Like, I've had the amazing opportunity over here at training at Devon's to wrestle with a lot of talent that are big on the scene, and it's just been good for me to have that experience. I don't think I would have had that anywhere. I wouldn't have been able to train with like Mercedes or Trinity, or like just people that I've been like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, but I've been able to
Yeah.
just train, and it's cool. It's fun for
Yeah.
me.
Yeah. So, I mean, physically, I feel like getting yourself back into shape, has it been kind of not a weird adjustment for you? Has it been an easy transition for you to getting back into the swing of things, or how has your experience been with at Devon's, so far?
Yeah, I do. I have the confidence to say that I do train hard regularly. So to me, it's it's not hard for me to get back into the ring, and it's not hard for me to have my cardio in place, because that is one thing I maintain, whether I've had a bad day, whether I can't be asked to do anything, that is a non-negotiable for me. So when it comes to stuff like that, like I have 100% faith and confidence in that. That's not a problem to me.
Well, definitely having that confidence is definitely going to help you through this next chapter of your career. I know a lot of fans are yearning to see you back. They'll get to see you back really soon. You are open for bookings now, so go book Aleah James. Aleah, before we let you go, can you please share where the listeners can find you online?
You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at the Aleah James. The same for both. Keep it the same, so you can find me anywhere. You can also find me on TikTok if you'd like to, if you're into that. Yeah, that's mainly where I'm at.
She's got some merch too, I know, on Big Cartel. I think it's aleahjames.bigcartel.com.
Yeah,
Probably something like that. Aleah, thank you so much for joining me here today. I am so excited for this next chapter of your career. I know, like I said, a lot of fans are eager to see you back in the ring, so we're looking forward to this.
Me too. Me too.
Thank you so much again for chatting with me.
Thank you.